what we want as moms is to stay true, like, to ourselves. That's what's going to keep us the most powerful for not only ourselves but for other people too. And if we just get caught up in the hamster wheel of living everyone else's life and everyone else's to-dos, we do lose ourselves. So it's the reminder of how important we are and how important our time alone really is. Welcome back to our channel. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Janel. We have bonded as millennial women, as moms, wives, as coaches, and as students of life, all while finding the humor in the chaos. This is us unpacking and externally processing the ever-evolving and growing baggage of life. Join us in the conversation.
Have we mentioned that we've never actually met in real life? We are connected from afar. Welcome back to Connected from Afar. Today we're going to be talking about what it's like as a mom and having time alone, and just all the different things that we have experienced over time. And we would love for you guys to comment, like, subscribe our channel. We are working on building our community as well as coming up with topics that are interesting to our community. So if there's something that comes up, please share it with us. And without further ado, hey Janelle, how's it going?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Good. Okay, so the topic is coming to mind because you were just on your parents' farm for a week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I left the kids and the hubby behind, and yeah, I know a lot of people get kind of sad when they have to work away from home, and granted, I don't do this often. So for me, doing this kind of thing is almost like a vacation. I get to
Yeah.
go and I get to listen to whatever I want, hear my own thoughts. I actually stay with my parents, so like my mama cooks for me, and like I don't have to clean or anything like that because I'm working. So it is a little bit like a vacation away from my family. It's not a typical thing. It's something I do like a couple times a year type of thing. But yeah, yeah. I've already, I'm like, I feel guilty for saying I don't miss my family in these instances. I do when I get home. When I get home, I'm like, it's so good to be home. But while I'm away, it is so nice to kind of return to just me, just taking care of myself
Yeah.
and not feel guilty
See,
about it.
and like I feel like it's so healthy to be able to be away from your family and be able to enjoy that. Like, to me, that shows that you have like stability at home, that you have trust with your partner, that you know your kids are taken care of. Like, because I don't know if you would necessarily enjoy your time away if you didn't feel you had that.
Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because the first time I did, it was for a month that I didn't have the kids, and my husband was at home with the kids. It was the first month of school. This was during harvest, so like September, they're going back to school and new routines, and so I was a little bit like, oh, I got to set everything up for him and make sure he has everything because he's also working full time and had to kind of shift his schedule at work in order to accommodate this.
Yeah.
Um, and so I did feel like a little bit of pressure to make sure he had all his ducks in a row, and I would almost call and like check up on him, and then I realized he's going to do things differently than I am, and there's a lot of letting go of control
Hmm.
and trusting that he can do it, like a trial by fire, and he did. He had to figure it out. He had to figure out what worked for him and his like in his schedule, and their routine had to work around his work and being a solo parent. Because
Yeah.
when I'm at home, I work mostly from home, and that I have all day to do those things, like to prep and to think about is coming next, where he had to kind of shorten things up because that was
Mhm.
his timeline. And so it didn't look how I would normally do it. And I had to just be like, this is an experience for him to do this. And yeah, I'll be there to support him if he needs any help or advice or whatever. Um, but yeah, it was the Murray show and they rocked it. They really
Yeah.
did. So it made it a lot easier this time, even though it was a shorter amount of time this time. It was I could going, I can completely trust that he had this. And the kids had it, right? Like they knew what they needed to do to help out and make it successful and they knew why I was going. But yeah, it's hard to let go of that and like watch it be done differently and be like and not take offense of, well, he's changing things up. Like why is he doing it that way? Like is my
Yeah.
way not good enough? Like how I set things up for him, is that not acceptable? Like who does he think he is? So there was a lot of uh yeah, pride and yeah, just like a lot of ego. I had to let go of my ego and just let him do it and let him ride it out his own way.
Yeah. And like the letting go of that control, what like it's just so beautiful because it's like you said, like now you've kind of seen the progression of like, okay, the first time I was away, I was trying to set everything up. Like that's still holding on to control. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, I'm going to make sure that they succeed because I'm going to make them, like I'm going to set them up that way. And then you realize like, okay, wait, by doing that you're all like, not even just you, I think we all do that as moms or women from our, in the beginning of trying to go and do something by ourselves. It's like we want to make sure we're setting them up, and then in the same regard it's like no one's setting us up.
Yeah.
And it's like I just had to make like these routines were just made out of like guessing, right? Like it wasn't like we had a book. So it's like, okay, wait, like it's kind of fun as well to see like, well, what's his guess? What's
Yeah.
his guessing game? Like, so
Yeah.
here's how I've been doing it, but like, what's his way of doing it? And I always joke too, like, I haven't ever been away for a month. Like, I give you that. And normally when I'm gone, I also love that you're going and you're being like nourished and so like taken care of. Like that's so beautiful because anytime that I have been away, that's in that space of me like giving. So I haven't got to be in a space of being away from my family and then being like nurtured.
Yes.
It's more like, oh, I'm leaving and I'm going to give everything I have to other people. uh and I lost my train of thought. Hold on, there was something with that. I don't know what it is now, but anyways, I love that you got to be away and be like nurtured from your mom. That's how it would be with my mom. Like she would want to cook and do everything, and it's like, okay, like someone can take care of
Yeah.
me. Like, sure.
Yeah. It's it is nice. It's like because I mean maybe if you're rich and you could go to some five-star hotel and they just serve on you hand and foot. But like usually when we go on holidays, even if it's like a girls' trip, there's still, you're still planning things. You're still organizing and maybe cooking and cleaning up after yourself. I mean, I clean up after myself, but like my mom did the dishes and that kind of thing, right? Because I
Yeah.
was working all day. But and I mean, I was working, but let's be honest, the type of work I do on the farm is generally I'm in a piece of machinery for long hours. It's like I'm either on the combine or a tractor for long hours, and it's just a grind that way. But I listen to all the podcasts I want. I listen to all the audiobooks, and like maybe I've got a movie playing in the background. Like it's just time for myself and silence.
Mm-hmm.
But usually when we travel or we have these like weekends away for ourselves, it really isn't that. It's go, go. Like if we're going to go, we want to experience where we're going. Like how often, and I see a lot of memes about this or reels or whatever, I don't know what to call them, of, wouldn't it be so nice if we went on a girls' trip and it was just like us reading together, like just sitting on a porch somewhere or in a pool somewhere reading a book beside each other.
Yeah.
But how often does that actually happen? Usually, if we're going to spend the money to go somewhere, we're like, let's make the most of it. we're going to go hiking, we're going to go see all the sights, we're going to go out and eat everywhere. And but that takes organizing it. And it's a very different experience. Like, yes, I'm working, but for me, I love that kind of work. And I love being out on the farm. And it's almost like a silent retreat, or it's a retreat for
Yeah.
me almost, because I get to pick like what personal development I'm doing, even just sitting in silence. And uh, yeah, it's very different. And I wish people could experience that and not feel that they need to do all the things when they go and be by themselves.
Hmm. Well, I'm ready whenever you want to take that girls trip and do nothing. I'm your girl.
We just need
I am.
someone to plan it for us. I don't want to plan.
Yeah, yeah.
Just
Oh
take
my
me
God.
along. Yes.
I know. I feel like I'm always kind of like backseat when it comes to vacations anyways. My husband takes over and does that, which I love because
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know where the places are, and he's already like done the research and figured out like good places to go. But yeah, that's awesome. What I was gonna say too about your husband or our like husbands, or what I noticed, I joke that that the kids don't expect as much from them. And I think that's because we've like over delivered. Like, I don't think they even
Mm,
expect as much from us as moms, but I think that we've like over delivered and done all these extra
yeah.
things that like there's also just like survival and like eating and hanging out and it not being this big like fluff that they get to experience with their dads. And that's part of the beauty of like the difference of like how it looks. At least that's like how I feel. Like, I used to work on the weekends like forever up until recently. And in the very beginning when we had the girls and I was working, and then Lee had to start taking them to birthday parties. And, I mean, for me, okay, I have girls, I need to make sure they're dressed, their hair's brushed, everything's put together. And I would come home from work knowing that they all went to this birthday party, bedhead, pajamas, like no one giving a shit. And I'm like, wait, hold, but that's what you looked like at the birthday party. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, who cares? And it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah. Apparently
okay,
just
who
me.
cares?
Yeah.
Apparently,
Ah,
apparently nobody,
yes.
because no one did anything. So it's like that's the extra thing, like that is made into this huge like thing for us sometimes. But it's like, yeah, they don't care. She just went to the birthday party with bedhead. She partied her butt off. She doesn't care.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's almost like a hypervigilance. Like we're always trying to create an experience. Like you said, I I look back at kind of what the expectations of Murray, because now like from the kids, the expectations from the kids of
Hmm.
Murray. They know that mom's not here, dad's going to do it differently. Um, the rules are a little bit different, you know,
Yeah.
just because that's what works for him. And they don't expect as much because mom's not there either, right? Like there's not that second parent, and it's not always moms, it's like that second parent. So like the expectations are a little bit different from them.
Yes.
And so they don't necessarily like I should say me, because I'm at home with the kids, is like I have that time to do those little extras that maybe mom's also working full time or both parents are working full time don't necessarily have to do. But I I do have those, that so I feel like I need to, you know, do those things, those little extras or those experiences with the kids. And I don't mean like going out and having experiences, but experiences even at home,
Yeah.
the time with me looks different, and I want to create these moments with my kids because I am at home with them, and that's why I'm at home. And because I forgot where I was going with this.
And this is what a podcast with two moms looks
Yeah.
like. We start really important conversations and then forget halfway through what we were talking about.
I, like expectations, I think because they don't expect that of him, right? He's at
Yep.
work. And I think that's my own hypervigilance, it's like I want to create those things, and so I put it upon myself. And therefore, oh, there's this where I was going. Therefore, I feel like when it's him, he's being the primary parent, that he should be doing these things. You know, but like you said, they do it different.
Yeah.
They have to, like, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And then, so I had to kind of look at their time together through a different lens of like not looking for what I would do from him, you know, like not looking from what I would do in that instance and expect that of him, but look at like
Hmm.
what are they doing in their time and what are those bonding moments or what are those like the experiences he's giving them that I would never think to, you know, like just
Yeah.
they share some similar interests and I'm like, you guys spent your time doing that? Like, and he's like, yeah, we loved it. All of us loved it. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know, like, and they're like kind of letting go of that judgment a little bit of, yes, it
Mhm.
looks different, but they need that. They need that variety.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's something beautiful. I don't, maybe this is going off topic, but I think there's like I love the idea of community or tribe where there's more than one or two uh, kind of adult influences in a kid's life,
Hmm.
you know, because we all do things differently. We all have different kind of niches and areas that we're passionate about that we can not influence, instill in the kids, you know, like
Yeah.
impart into the kids. And I think that's why I love kids when they play sports or and they have coaches or mentors or like it doesn't have to be sports, but activities where they have another adult to instill wisdom and like just all the goodness into the kids, you know, it's just another flavor
Yeah.
that shapes our kids. I think is such a beautiful thing. And so that's something I had to remember, be leaving them with just their dad. I know he can take care of all their needs, but like, what are the experiences that they're having? Like, are they just getting basics from him or,
Mhm.
and it's not, they're getting just a very different flavor and different experiences from them that they also need and could really, uh, like flourish in, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. I can say too that like I definitely it's been a progression over time of just like being away from the kids and doing something, solo for myself or my business or whatever's taking me away, of like having that guilt to allowing myself to enjoy, like, again, even if I'm going and doing like these retreats and giving, like, there's still the night that I have, to myself, of just
Yeah.
like being present and allowing myself to enjoy that time. And like you said, it's more so now once I get home, or like it'll be like on the drive home, like, oh, I can't wait to go home, da da da, like. And it's also funny because I'll get so excited to come home and I missed everybody, and then within the first like 10 minutes, like, some sort of fight will break out.
Yeah.
And you're like, and we're back.
Yeah.
It's like, it's this whole like wheel of like, okay, I'm enjoying my time away, to like, can't wait to get home, to, oh yeah, it's back. Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We're
That
back
didn't
at
take
it.
long. Yeah. I see. I find the hardest part is walking in the door. I always feel I'm like, I just want to come home to, and not that, okay, I'll finish my sentence. I want to come home to clean home, you know, not that
Yes.
when Murray comes home that the house is always clean, like, because it's during the day and we're living in our house and the kids play and have toys and stuff. So the house is not always clean, but I have to let go of this of like, I'm not coming home to my house, I'm coming home to my family.
Yes.
Like separating that and not having this expectations of what my house looks like. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, well, what were you guys doing? You know,
Yeah.
like you knew I was coming home. Why couldn't you clean up the house? It's like, oh, well, they're having an experience right now. Like they're living their life. And it's
Yep.
not like I would rather the welcome of mom, you're home and the hugs and the kisses and like, you know, wanting to spend time with me. It is hard because like that's your environment, but like I really had to focus on that versus what does my house look like? And that gratitude of being able to be away and the kids are taken care of.
Yeah.
And not just their needs met, but they had a wonderful time as well. So it's
Yeah.
not about, them prepping for me to come home. So I come home to this palace after I've been away on
It's
whatever holiday or whatever, wherever I've been. It's like that's not an expectation I wanted to have anymore, because it always leads to disappointment and it kind of ruins the coming home.
it does ruin the coming home. I can relate to that. I mean, 1,000%. Where it's like, you walk through the door and it's that instant judgment of like, well, what the hell were you guys doing the
Yeah.
whole time? Like, and so be it. They were just having fun and living in the moment. And it, I used to not be able to appreciate that. It's like, okay, cool, but there needed to be like a little level of like cleanup. And then also like, but then I didn't want them to have this feeling of like, mom's coming home. Oh my gosh, everyone get your
Yeah.
stuff together. Like, we need to clean up. We need to, like, she's going to be mad at, like, I don't want that either. But I know, like, if I would have continued on that realm of being like, that's how it would be. Like, instead of them being excited, mom's home, it would be like anxious that mom's home because what is not going to be okay? What level of cleanliness is acceptable for her, and that sucks. And so there is that space of like, okay, it is what it is, whatever it looks like, it looks like. Everyone's alive and everyone had a great time and did something, again, like you said, that would have never, I would have never thought of to take them on an adventure of some kind.
Yeah. And I just wonder, you know, kind of what that does to a kid's mind of, mom's not excited to see me.
Yeah.
She's just wants a clean house.
Yeah.
Like it that can play with a kid's mind. And I'm guilty of that. Like I've done that. Come home being like, well, what the fuck, you guys? You
Yeah.
know?
Totally.
And and then I like looking back and it kind of crushes me a little bit, but you have to learn from this. But just like them being like, oh, sorry, mom, like, and then that becomes the memory of the weekend and of me coming home, and just that it never sat well. But it's hard to, like, that instant reaction. Um, it's hard to quell sometimes.
Yeah. Well, most of the time, like when we're doing that, it's unconscious, right? Like we're not
Yeah,
thinking about it. We're just like reacting to what's in front of us. And it's like, that's ingrained in us, ingrained that like, for whatever reason, the house is acceptably dirty if we're around. But if we leave and come back to
yeah.
it being acceptably dirty, it's unacceptable.
Well, I wonder, like, because you've been away, whether you're on a holiday, you had this like beautiful experience, and you come home and you just want to come home, and kind of continue the bliss. And you come home and you're
Yes.
like, oh, right, reality. Like, this is my, like, it kind of like it's an abrupt end
Yeah.
to the joy of being away, like this, whether it was a holiday or work or whatever. It's just like that time to yourself. It's like an abrupt stop, and like, well, fuck, back at it. And so I think that's the trick. That's more the trigger than the actual whatever it is. Like, you come home and it's messy, or maybe supper's not made, and it's like, well, I'm back to mom, back to this role,
Yeah.
taking care of everybody else. And I mean, that's obviously a mindset that where did I hear this? I think it was Mel Robbins said something about laundry, like the mind shift, like, just if you're always looking at laundry, be like, for fuck's sakes, I just fucking finished this. And looking at it less as a chore to finish, as just a fact of life. It's just a daily thing, whether you do laundry or daily or weekly or whatever that looks like for you. Mine's usually mountains, but like, not expecting that to ever be a complete thing. That is
Yeah.
like, it is a cyclical thing, and letting go of this expectation of it all being complete, a task being complete, because it's just like dishes, the same thing is like, it's these cyclical things that need to be done continuously, and not something checked off the list,
Yeah.
that mindset. And I think that's, you know, a mindset I am constantly working on, but that kind of helped me not always feel like I'm, my list is never fucking done. Because 90% of that list is cyclical stuff that
Hmm.
just needs to happen on a daily basis, whether I had children or not, you know?
Yeah.
It's never a complete, it will be forever until I have a maid,
Yeah. Exactly.
a
Until
full-time
I
cook
have
and maid.
passed that on to somebody else. No, it's true. And I think that you nailed it as well, of just like that blissful getaway to nothing. Like, it's different when the whole family goes somewhere and then you all come back together. It, for me, it feels more of like an ease into reality versus me being gone, coming and them still living their life, and then me coming back into the mix. And
Yeah,
that is that like abrupt, like, yeah, responsibilities are back in your face. The dishes haven't been done. You still need to cook. The laundry's piled, like whatever. Whereas like when the whole family comes home, it's just like, okay, everyone unpack their suitcase,
yeah,
like let's all do this. And obviously it doesn't happen every time, but there is a bit of like, let's clean up before we leave to go on vacation.
yeah,
Like back when I had cleaning crew coming in, I would have them come while I was gone, so specifically I came home to a clean house. Like, yeah, there is something to that. It's
yeah,
the bliss continued.
yeah. And it's funny how you say that, the separation of when just one person comes home versus when you all come home. And
Hmm.
I even think kind of I'm the opposite. Usually when we get home, we're like, there's no expectations of anyone. You
Yeah.
come home and you're like, you know what? None of us feel like cooking. Let's just order in. Let's just freaking lounge. We'll unpack tomorrow, or whatever that looks like. And so I wonder even if when Murray comes home from work, when he's stepping in and like shit's chaos or like, or it's not
Yeah.
like we're having a grand old time, but the house is upside down because we're living in it. We're actually like doing something in the house. Um, and what that must feel like coming home from work and being like, like I just
Hmm.
want to unwind and ease into my family. And it's funny because my husband actually, it used to drive me nuts because he used to do this in the back where I could see him. He would stay in his truck and have a little cat nap before he came in, just to unwind. And when I say cat nap, he's like a 5 minuter, like he just calls it a kipper, and he'll just
Yeah.
close his eyes for a little bit and just unwind. But he would do it, especially when the kids were really young and I was done for the day. And I'd
Hmm.
be like, I need you in here. But he would do it in the backyard where I could see the truck. And I know he's sleeping right now. And I'm like, so now he does it down the block. I'm like, I don't want to know. Don't tell me. I like if I can't see you and then I'm counting down the minutes until you come in the house. But if I don't know you're down the block having a
Yeah.
5 minute nap, it doesn't bother me. Like I
Yeah.
know that you're doing it, but I can't see you doing it. I'm not counting down minutes of your freaking nap because
Oh yeah.
I want to go and have some quiet time. It's not bad now that the kids are older, but when they were little, that used to just drive me bonkers. And it
Oh
would be
yeah.
like so much resentment and be like, what are you fucking doing? Are you kidding me? You're done work. Now it's your family time.
Yes. You mean the drive home wasn't enough?
Yes, yeah.
You
The
need
drive through
more.
rush hour. Yes.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Your stressful drive home in rush hour wasn't good enough for you. It's true though. It's like, yeah, I'll do that sometimes where I'll like sit in my car for a minute. And especially if I'm like on the phone or something, obviously I'll
Yes.
just stay in there. But yeah, and when the girls were younger, they would be like let loose and then they're coming out to the car and you're like, no, you're not allowed to come. I'm not here.
Yeah.
I'm not here. Or even like working a long day. I remember this too, like working, a long day, coming home at night. The kids are supposed to be asleep, and their room was in the front of the house at the time when they were younger, and if the lights were still on, I would sit in my car. I'm like, I'm not going in there.
Yeah.
I am not, like, I don't have it in me. I don't have it in me to like get the go, just the whole bit. And obviously that, I would only sit in there for like 5 minutes in hopes that like something would happen in those 5 minutes, and it either did or it didn't. But oh yeah, I've been guilty of coming home and being like, yep, I'm not going in there yet.
Well, to be fair, I think, and it's even true of like when your partner comes in the middle of bedtime and you're trying to get them down, they're starting to settle, and then someone walks in the door and they're like, "Who's that? Dad's home?" And you're like, "Fuck." Like,
Totally.
so, on the opposite end, please don't come in the door if we're in the middle of bedtime. Not that they always know, but
Yeah.
like, so yeah, it's the same thing is if I saw the light on and I knew it was around bedtime, I would wait. I would hold off because
Yeah.
it would just, then they're up for another half an hour. And then we're both like "Argh," pissed, you
Yeah.
know? Um, so yeah, I don't blame you for that one. Like, if
Yeah.
anything, that was strategic. Probably more helpful than anything.
Well, I
Yeah.
definitely knew what it was like when that got interrupted as well, for sure.
Yeah. And it's just
Yeah.
more frustrating for the partner. Unless they're really struggling. Like I've had the odd text from Murray and be like, "When are you getting home? Like these kids, I like they're not. They're just waiting for you. They're not going to sleep." So,
Mhm.
then I would go in and just give them their good night kisses or whatever, and then that would be the end of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, anyway.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
I think the takeaway from today is like, one, I want to say we haven't touched on, but one, I think it's important that we find time to get away, whatever that looks like. Whether
Yeah.
that is like an event that's somewhere that's you're doing something, or a time that you get to go and be alone. Like, I do think it's healthy, and I think it's very important that we as moms, parents, entrepreneurs, humans,
Yeah.
find time to be alone throughout the year.
Yeah.
Because obviously we get little blips here and there throughout just day-to-day life, but being able to have like a full like 24-hour period of just like being alone, I think is huge. And also, like, if you are a mom, it's okay if you don't feel guilty. And
Yeah.
it's okay, like, if you actually enjoy your time away. Like, that means you're doing it well. Like, you're doing good. You're letting go of, attachment, and you're letting go of control, and you're letting go of how everything should be in order, and you're just allowing yourself to be there, which is a total beautiful thing.
Yeah. One of the things I've started doing, and it's just happened naturally, is I I find it really hard to sit in silence for any length of time at home
Hmm.
because there's always something to do, right? Like your mind kind of goes into like what's next. What's
Yeah.
you start to anticipate. But when you have these opportunities where there's I mean, not everyone can sit on a tractor for 13 hours a day. Like that's
Yeah.
like you're kind of forced into that. But sitting in silence for, even if you go for a drive,
Yeah.
like you're driving somewhere and actually sit in silence, it's really uncomfortable at the beginning, but once you get past like the need tos, the have tos, the what's next, and then just allow space for just your mind to just be, beautiful things come up. And sometimes
Mhm.
they're really uncomfortable, as in like there's things you haven't dealt with, like personal stuff. I don't mean like the daily have tos, just like
Yeah.
stuff that you haven't processed. Um,
Hmm.
you know, thoughts, experiences that you haven't dissected yet and like felt. And like, what does that actually mean to me? Or what am I doing? Or like, it just opens up the possibilities in your mind. That's usually when you become more creative and imaginative. You start to dream a little bit more, and the what ifs come up. And there's, I find that so beautiful. And sometimes it's just letting your mind rest. Like I
Hmm.
have such a busy mind, and it takes me a long time to unwind. But on like a 4 hour drive up to the farm, usually by hour three, I'm like, my mind just starts to hum, and it's so relaxing. Of just like,
Hmm.
it's like there's nothing running anymore. It's
Yeah.
it's like, oh, it's quiet, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually I feel more rested at the end of it than I did like at the beginning of my drive, like even first thing in the morning after a good night's sleep. It's just our minds are so busy, and to have that time just to like and to get to the point where it's just humming. Now it's just
Yeah.
purring in the background, like I wish that on anybody. I wish that for everybody. It's such
Mm-hmm.
a beautiful experience. But yeah, like our brains are always on go, especially as moms. Is like, what's next? What do they need? Like it's the always anticipating needs of your,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's your own or somebody else's. We're always anticipating, and to let go and just let our minds wander
Mm-hmm.
is such a gift. And yeah,
It's literally like the best thing ever. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything better than that. I mean, I drive in silence all the time. And in the beginning, I would like get home and be like, "Oh my God, I was just in silence that whole time." Like I didn't even like recognize it necessarily because especially, working behind the chair and talking all day, you're just
hmm
like, whew, and then yeah, it would be like, oh my gosh. And now it's like a purposeful thing of like, I'll get in the car, I'll naturally turn the stereo all the way down or shut it off, whatever. And like, nope, this is like, because for me, the decompression starts on the drive home now. It's like, no, I can't hear another word. I can't hear another
yeah,
sound. Like, I just need to quiet my mind, settle my body into this environment because it's been going. And then that way I can show up at home and walk through the door
yeah,
and not sit in the driveway for however long I need to.
yeah. Well, I think there's always a time and a place for like, tunes and like rocking out and
Oh,
listening to podcasts if that's when you get a chance. But making sure, like being intentional about that, like you said, unpacking the day, or
yeah.
and I mean, it doesn't have to be a 3 hour drive, 4 hour drive, obviously, but I obviously you can't do that kind of thing on a regular basis. But being intentional, like throughout the year, being like maybe doing it, I don't know, quarterly or something where you have time to just go be by
Mm-hmm.
yourself and allow your brain to get to the point of just humming and purring, and see what that does for you, like for like going forward. If we're always just playing catch up to our daily lives,
It's exhausting.
it's exhausting, and but it also doesn't, it ends up leading to dissatisfaction because we never make time to think about, well, what do I want? What's
Mm-hmm.
important to me? Like, what do I want to change, or what do I want to do more of? What am I curious about? It's just now we're just like now we're just existing. We're not thriving. So that time to be intentional, and it doesn't have to be by yourself. Like you could do this as a partner thing too, like getting
Mm-hmm.
away and doing that together, and but allowing space that you each have an opportunity to get to that point, and then just allowing your thoughts, your deeper thoughts, not your daily thoughts, your deeper thoughts to come through. Like, what would that do for your life?
Yeah. Yeah. But on that same subject, like as moms, I think or parents, we can say that. I'm a mom, so that's what I'm relatable to. Like, but finding time to be alone so that you don't get to the point of your kids getting older and moving out and it's been 20 years and now you're like, who the fuck am I? Because if
Yeah.
we're only living for our kids and our spouse, then we're losing ourselves. And I think part of us being able to stay connected to ourselves and be like, wait, what is my purpose? What are things that I like that I want to do? What's something I would like my partner to start doing for me? Or that I would like the kids to incorporate? Like what we want as moms, and I mean anyone, but again, what we want as moms is to stay true like to ourself. That's what's going to keep us the most powerful for not only ourselves but for other people too. And if we just get caught up in the hamster wheel of living everyone else's life and everyone else's to-dos, we do lose ourselves. So it's the reminder of how important we are and how important our time alone really is.
Yeah, I think you said something important there is uh, like the we end up living just as our role as mom, wife, like these titles of ourselves, like your job title, your mom title, your wife title, daughter, friend. But these are titles, these are not your identity.
Yeah.
So who are you? And if you're only living your titles, and you could be rocking every fucking one of those titles, like just killing it, doing such a great job. But like you said, then, circumstances change. Your kids go off to school and you lose one of those titles. And if that's a big part of who you are, and you don't have that underlying, who is Nicole? Who is Janelle? That identity part of you, if that's not strong and secure, if you lose one of those titles, that can really rock your world. If you allow those titles to become your identity,
Mm-hmm.
they are part of you. Yes, those are titles. That's not just who you are. And
Yeah.
so that, like you said, that time and space to really connect to that deeper part of you, like, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
I am. Then
Yeah.
it can get really exhausting and tiring to be all these roles, but not feel as satisfied because you're not connected to your identity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think we leave it there. I
I think
think
so
that's
too.
perfect. I think that's perfect. And as far as our mystery question, dun dun dun,
Dun dun dun.
what my question for you is, what podcast were you most tuned into this last little stint by yourself?
Ooh. Um, so I flip flop. Um, I love Lewis Howes. I love School of Greatness. Um, he is such an amazing interviewer. He just really, it's a conversation. It's such a beautiful conversation. He's a great conversationalist with people and
Yep.
asks incredible questions. So I love all of his podcasts. Um, but then I've just discovered I also like a little humor. I need a little humor,
Mhm.
but I love people's stories. So I started
Yeah.
listening to Amy Poehler's new podcast. Love it. And she's oddly like it was very unexpected. I thought it would just be like good humor, but like she has really deep conversations. So I love hers. That was one I would kind of flip flop in. So I would try to do like a personal development one and then like a humorous one. So there's
Yeah.
hers, Smartless with Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and the guy from Will and Grace. Freaking funny.
Yeah.
Also goes really deep. And also I really love Dax Shepard's. I forget what his is. I love people's stories, and then they have these really great. Oh, and also Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Wiser Than Me. Highly recommend it as a woman. She interviews
Oh.
like wiser women, so older women have like some of them are um, celebrities, but some of them aren't. It's just like these women that are much older, like in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and just like words of wisdom from them. And she just talks about their life and what they've achieved. Anyway, shit like this. I love people's stories. I think we can get so much out of people's stories. And if there's a little bit of humor in there, it just makes my day so much better. But that was a
Oh,
really
I love
long
that.
answer. I
That's
listen to
okay.
all kinds of shit.
I love it. I want to hear more so I know, like, oh, what else should I tune into?
Yeah. Oh, there's some real, like, there's so many good ones. It's hard to pick. So
Yeah.
I try and pick ones that I connect to, like the interviewer, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah. And pick random things because I think we get caught up in like, oh, I recognize this person's name,
Hmm.
or they're famous, or it's someone already of note, but it's the ones, the unknowns. Like this is where it's like you can go down rabbit holes and like, oh, I never knew this existed, or this is a brand new world to me. And so I like going down that road as well of like they interview these unknowns and it's like these nuggets that aren't mainstream, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious, who do you listen to?
Well, so I'm really bad about getting stuck on one for for a while until I shift and change. So I don't have a long answer like you do right now. I have the answer of I've been listening a lot to The Diary of a CEO.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I just like that he interviews so many different people, and again I get to hear stories, which I love. So yeah, I've been really into that one. The other one that I was listening to recently was called Telepathic Tapes
Okay.
or something like that, and it's about these non-verbal speaking children who are like autistic or on the spectrum, and they are telepathic, and they end up being able to, there's millions of documented stories of these children or adults even, but being able to telepathically read people's minds.
So how do they, okay, so this
You
is
have
supposed to
to
be
go
a podcast, and if they're nonverbal, how do they share this?
through writing.
Okay.
um and like there's so many. There was a husband who started hearing his wife who ended up with dementia, and she couldn't, so she wasn't on the spectrum, but that was where it led to. But there's just it just gives you chills. You're like, you like can't make it up type of thing. It's
Yeah.
just the stories are wild. And what a gift. And I do feel that people that are probably missing a sense of some kind are only stronger in other senses. And so, yeah, my friend told me about it and I started listening to it and I was like, this is wild. And then
Yeah.
I also like I found, I can't even remember their names right now, so I feel terrible, but some really like low level um other podcasters that are kind of like in the same realm as we are, just starting out, just getting things going, to support and give love to the small community as well. So
Yeah.
I like to, kind of go and weeble wobble in that space as well, because then I don't know them, I don't know who they're talking to, I don't,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, there's so
that's
much out there, and I love that you do that. Find the unknowns and support the smaller podcasts. Because yeah, I do stick to like my favorites. I'm not one to
yeah.
like deep dive and be like, ooh, what's this? It's like I know what I like, but
Because like
also
I'll search like a topic sometimes, like if I have a topic in mind of something that like I'm wanting to dig
yeah,
deeper in, so I'll just like search the topic, and then there's always the people that I know that pop up first, and then I'll just kind of like scroll through and be like, you know what, let's see what this person with 100 followers had to say.
yeah,
Well, I'll send you. It's called telepathy tapes. That's what it's called, not telepathic. Telepathy tapes. I'm
cool.
gonna send you one.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you everyone for
Okay.
listening. Like we said, comment. We'd like to hear what you guys want to know. We'd like, that didn't make sense. We'd like to know what you'd like to hear about. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Love you
Bye.
guys. Bye.